Hey guys, it's Josh at Porter Valley Ranch. We are here. It is Sunday. First off, we have some bad news. I play bass guitar at our church, so after the first service, Rachel texted me that her and Zeke couldn't find Minnie, one of our goats, and she had died in the woods. We really don't know what happened. It looked like possibly worms, but we hadn't really seen any symptoms or signs of that before, so we don't know if she ate something she shouldn't have or what. So anyway, she was Jet's goat, so we had to talk to Jet and tell him, and of course he was sad, and we're all sad. So unfortunately, part of farming and ranching is that animals die. So right now, Rachel and I are kind of battling the dilemma between explaining that things happen and you just have to move on, versus there's still a compassion side that they're still living creatures, they're still our pets. So we want everyone to be sensitive. We want our kids to be sensitive to that when animals die, but it is part of it. So a big part of the lesson that we're trying to teach them is you do everything you can, and that prevents them from dying as much as possible. Wait for the wind to die down. It's very windy today. There's a Sahara reverse jet stream. I don't know. 2020 is crazy. Yesterday one of my friends turned 40. He's super old. So he turned 40. We went kayaking. And at one point, I stopped kayaking, stopped paddling, and I was blowing upriver with white cap waves coming over the front of my kayak. So the wind's doing some crazy things right now because of all this stuff. So,
for sure.
All right. So anyway, so Minnie passed away. She left JP. He was just over here, her baby, but he's old enough to wean, so he'll be okay. We'll just make sure that he's getting feed and stuff, and he'll be okay. He'll be able to survive on his own, but still a sad day for us. So we do have some projects we have to accomplish. Today, Zeke is going to build a feeder for our goats. A lot of times we have to dump it on the ground, and that's not ideal because then they're picking up sand and dirt, whatever else. If it's on grass, they could get worms, that they're eating. So we want to put it in a feeder. So we got some of this culvert pipe for free from my brother-in-law. So we're gonna cut it in half and make it into a feeder. Hopefully it'll be great, and you can follow along with him as he builds it. Step one, we are going to cut the base. We're going to make the base for this out of a log. So I'm going to measure this and cut it. So the height is 15 inches. So I'm going to make the base two 16-inch pieces with a little notch. And then we can set the pipe on it, and it'll be a great base for our feeder. Okay, so we cut our base out of these logs, and then I notched it so that this can sit down in there, and it'll be sturdy. So we'll screw it down into those logs. Those logs will last 3 to 5 years, and we'll have to replace them, but no problem. We've got plenty of logs around here. So Zeke is going to cut this. If you've never used a skill saw before, the first thing you want to do is look at it and make sure this bottom plate is adjustable on a lot of them. So you want to make sure that it's cutting flat and that it's not angled. This one appears to be relatively flat. And then the second thing you want to do is look at the depth and make sure that this depth is going to cut through whatever you're cutting and not cut anything else. So if you're cutting on top of something, you can make this blade come up and down so that it cuts differently. Anytime you cut something, you want to make sure that the blade or chain is running full speed before you start the cut. So get it right up next to the place you're going to cut, power it on, whatever that means, and then slowly push forwards. And then whenever you're finished, you want to let it rest. So let off the trigger, let off the gas, and let the blade or the chain stop spinning before you move it. The reason is the teeth on the blade or the teeth on the chain can catch and can yank the saw away from you. And when it yanks away from you is when you end up hurting yourself, or you could potentially hurt yourself. So don't do that. Don't do that. Zeke has never used this before, so this is live action right here. All right, so this is a safety. You're gonna push the safety, hold this handle, and then pull the trigger. So this is battery powered Porter cable, because my name's Porter. I do not own any stock in this company, but would be open to sponsorships if they so feel the need to do so. Yeah. Just put it down there. Put it right next to it, okay? And then go ahead and line it up. And do you see this? Yep. There's usually on a skill saw or a circular saw, there are little lines. If you guys can see these lines, this blade is right now lined up with this outside line. So you want to look there, don't look at the blade. If you look at the blade, it could send something into your eyeballs. Safety glasses for the youth, not for the old guy who's stubborn and does things the wrong way. This is not a tutorial or a safety video. Do not tell me that I'm being unsafe. I usually am. Okay, ready? And then you're just gonna push it real slow. You ready? Push, you got it. Slow. You don't have to stop. You just keep it going. The best tool to make this line across the top would be a chalk line, but we are redoing a house for our missionaries in Africa, and I left my chalk line at the house we're redoing for them. So I'm going to use a level.
Like a big ruler.
Let him get up. Go ahead, cut it. He's fine.
Huh?
He's fine. We'll get him in a minute. Rumble's out over here. You can't see him in the video, but he's on the other side of the fence. And now we have 2 pieces.
Oh yeah. Killed it. How did that stinking dog get out?
Okay, so the next step is going to be to cut out this half circle from these boards. Jigsaws are a little bit more tricky, so I'm going to cut it out. As you can tell, I have it clamped on the four-wheeler. We have the jigsaw plugged into the generator, so we can take this setup wherever we want and do some work. So we're going to cut a half circle, then we're going to use that as a template for our other circle, trace it and cut it. Then we'll have 2 half circles that we can put on the sides of the feeder. Then all we have to do is screw it all together and we'll be ready to go. We now have 2 half circles. You put them together and it makes a almost circle. That means we did a good job. So we're going to put these inside of the pen or inside of the feeder, and we're going to screw them down, then we'll be ready to go. Over. All right, so Zeke has finished his feeder. Here it is in position. We put some feed in it. Buddy, come here. Okay, so that is a that's a wrap on the feeder video. We could have bought a feeder pretty easily. They're pretty inexpensive. You know, we could have got one for probably $20 to $50. But one thing we're trying to show you with this YouTube channel is that you can take the things around you, you can recycle them, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to make products for your farm, your ranch, or your homestead. You also shouldn't bend down when you shoot videos because your dogs will get all over you. I used to watch this channel called Arms Family Homestead, and if you're watching, what's up, man? So Daniel would always bend down and then his dogs would lick his face. And I'm always like, why is he doing that? But now here I am and my dog's doing the same thing. So anyway, kind of our mission with this thing is to show you how to utilize the things that you have to make your property great without spending a lot of money. So hopefully you can find some stuff around your house and you can reuse it just like we did. Say bye, buddy.